Hey everyone, welcome to hok'stutoring. Hope you're having a great day. Today we are going to be doing a tutorial video on chapter 1, specifically question 1G. So in the previous video we did a topic video on sketching ellipses and hyperbolas. In this video we will be doing an actual question. And I took a slightly harder question as opposed to the example I gave in the topic videos so that you guys get to apply your understanding into what you should be expecting in your SAC, your exam, and maybe the harder questions in the textbook. Right, so let's get into it. So question 1G, I took question I out because it seemed pretty difficult compared to the others, of course. But by the end of this video, hopefully this should be okay. So you have 9x squared minus 16y squared minus 18x plus 32y minus 151 equals to 0. I forgot to add that in this question you had to sketch the graph, so we need to sketch whatever this graph is. And the first thing that comes to mind is, whoa, it's not in any of the general formulas, because remember, for an ellipse, the general formula or the general equation of an ellipse is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals to 1, and they have denominator. Those are a squared and b squared. And you can already see that there are no brackets at all. So it's not in the general formula of an ellipse. Same thing for hyperbolas, but there's just a minus in between. Equals to 1. So the first thing you need to do here is you have to turn this equation right here into this format. How do you do that? Well, there's only one way. You turn something without a bracket into something with a bracket. And that is you have to factorize and then perhaps complete the square afterwards. So let's get into that. Right, so the first step here is group the x together, 9x squared minus 18x minus 16y squared plus 32y, and you can bring the 151 to the other side. So we're just grouping the terms together, right? Then afterwards, you see these two terms right here, 9x squared and 18x, and then we have negative 16y squared plus 32y. We are going to factorize them. So first thing we do, factorize 9 out of this and we get x squared minus 2x. Do the same thing for y. Take out negative 16. We have the positive y squared minus 2y bracket equals 151. I highly recommend you have positive y squared instead of negative y squared. So in this case, you could have taken out positive 16 so instead of negative 16. But yeah, have a positive y squared. It's much easier to work with, right? Then afterwards, you see an x squared minus 2x. This looks a bit familiar, and that it is. It's from methods. It is your complete the square. So what we do here, make sure you put a bracket. I'll explain later on why. So if you want to complete the square, we look at the second coefficient. So that's the 2. So we still write that down, but then we half it. Half of 2 is 1, and we square 1, so that's plus 1. And then whenever you're completing a square, always put a minus 1 because that plus 1 came out of nowhere. Okay, do the same thing over here. Minus 16. I'll just do this quickly.
Same thing, complete the square, half the coefficient. We get negative 1, we square that, we get plus 1. Always put minus of whatever number you get. And then bracket equals 151. Okay, and then keep going till you're working out. So this is x squared minus 2x plus 1. That is your perfect square. So put in a bracket x minus 1 bracket square. And then there's that negative 1 out there. Make sure they're all in this big bracket. That 9 later on is going to expand into this. Okay, same thing over here. Put a bracket inside a bracket. Minus 1 square minus 1 close bracket equals 151.
And then afterwards, what we do is we expand the bracket. 9 bracket x minus 1 square minus 9 minus 16 bracket y minus 1 square plus 16 equals to 151. Okay, and the moment you see this, you should be quite happy because now you have x minus 1 square, you have y minus 1 square. That is starting to look like this now, okay? That's looking good. So that's the general formula. So what we do afterwards is bring all the 9 and the negative 9 and the plus 16 to the other side so that we get rid of the numbers on the left hand side. 144, which is quite nice. And we're not done though, because the general formula once again has a 1 on the right hand side. This is a 144. So what do you do to get rid of, or to turn 144 into a 1? Well, if you want to do that, we divide both sides by 144. Pretty simple, right? So you divide both sides by 144 and you get x minus 1 square over, so 9 over 144. If you've done enough maths in your lifetime, you should know that is 16. And then same thing over here, 16 divided by 144 is 9, so vice versa. And there we go. We end up with this general formula, which is looking quite nice. Right there. X minus 1 squared over 16 minus y minus 1 squared over 9 equals to 1. And you see a negative in between these two terms, and then you have an x in front of y. Therefore, the graph, the shape of this graph should look something like this. Your left and right hyperbola, okay? So we proceed to sketch the graph on our next step, and step number 1. So you find your center, so the intersection point between your asymptotes, that is h and k, so 1 and 1 right there, very simple. And then you find your a value, which is always square root of the denominator under x, so that is square root of 16, which gives you 4. Same thing for b, square root of 9, that gives you 3. And once you got that, we can find the general formula, or the equation for your asymptotes, which in this case is y minus 1. So the general formula is y minus k. If you forgot this, you can watch my topic video. I'll leave a link below. Y minus k equals plus minus b over a bracket x minus h. And that's it. So in this case, y minus 1 is y minus k right there. B over a, we know b is 3, a is 4. And bracket, oh, don't forget the plus minus. There should always be 2 equations. That's why you get a cross, or you get 2 asymptotes. And then it's x minus 1. Okay. Afterwards, you can expand the bracket, get your 2 equations. I'll do that quickly over here. Okay, so that's pretty much it for your 2 equations. Y equals to 3 over 4x plus 1 on 4, and y equals to negative 3 over 4x plus 7 on 4. So your 2 asymptotes. Step number 2 is you can start sketching your graph, and we will draw axes first. Right there. So just try your best to draw an axis, a straight one, x and a y, and then you plot your center. So 1, 1, 1, 1 right there, 1, 1. That is our center, and then you can start plotting your asymptotes. I'll put in red here. So 1 on 4. So the first one. So this one right here. We're doing that right now. 3 and 4. Just give your best. Connect them to the center. Okay. So you already got your 2 points. You don't really have to get a find another point. You already have the center, and you've got your y-intercept as always. 1 on 4, and then you have 7 on 4, so maybe somewhere over here, 7 on 4, and plot your other asymptote. Just make sure you connect those together, and they should intersect at the center, which is 1, 1. And there we go. We've got our asymptotes. Just draw it as straight as you can, and we can start sketching our graph. Okay, so what is our graph? We know our hyperbola is a left and right hyperbola, so it should be going these directions. And you can just start immediately sketching it, but I have a tip for you to get it even more accurate. You can take the center, because this is a left and right hyperbola. You can take the x value, so this one right here, 1. You can take the x value, 1, plus minus the a value, so right here. So 1 plus minus 4. And if you do that, you get 5. So you get the points closest to the center, okay, of your hyperbola. So you get 5 and you get negative 3. So maybe somewhere here, okay, negative 3. Right, these 2 points are the points on your hyperbola that is closest to the center. And you can just start sketching your graph. That's it. Get the best shape as close to the asymptote as possible. And just make sure it intersects that point. Okay, if you've got a better graph, I'm pretty sure you can sketch a better graph than I can. But yeah, so this is how it should look like. Get it as close to the asymptote as you can, and just get your hyperbolas, okay? You should always be labeling things, so y-axis, x-axis. In this case, you should also find the x-intercept and y-intercept. So there's no y-intercept. If you want to find the x-intercept, let y equal 0. And I'm pretty sure you guys can do that. But aside from that, guys, this is how you sketch this graph right here. So left and right hyperbola, complete the square, you get the general formula, turn it so that it looks like this, and then you can start sketching the graph. If you have any problems with sketching, go back to topic videos for sketching hyperbolas and ellipses, and you'll be fine. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.